Alright, we are back with the International B licenses this time. Gonna be trying to get gold on all of these. Obviously starting with International B1. IB1, braking during turns 1. Tread braking is the term used when you apply the brakes as you make a turn. Let's try our hand at tread braking for the first corner of Tsukuba Circuit. After the start, stay to the left side of the track, then look for the point where the grass on the right ends. Then steer for the curbing. Brake lightly as you turn into this uphill corner and get to the inside of the corner. If you're too early on the throttle, you won't make the turn. Keep even throttle and look for your corner post up ahead for your exit. The key here is find the ideal cornering speed. IB2, braking during turns 2. Now we'll try high-speed tread braking using the corners of the Nürburgring. Accelerate on the straight upon launch. Take the first left-hander flat out, then veer to the left side of the track to set up for the upcoming right-hander. There's a signpost on your right, use that as your braking marker. You'll be steering as you brake, but because the corner is a late apex one, try to keep your general driving line to the inside here. If you don't slow the car down enough, or you're too quick getting back on the throttle, you'll go off at the corner's exit. Practice slowing the car down as you corner to master this section. That was a pretty bad first run, although we're not too far off the time, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Closer. There we go. IB3, Advanced Level Complex Corners 1. 2 turns blend into one here at Suzuka's Spoon Corner. After the start, take the sweeper flat out, then you'll approach the first left-hander of Spoon Corner. Brake appropriately. Oh well. I guess you don't get to read all that one. IB4, Advanced Level Complex Corners 2. The very difficult middle section of the Deep Forest course is the venue for this test. You'll drive through a tunnel after the start, then the course will bend to the right. Don't get worked up here and get on the throttle too quickly, or you'll get understeer. After you clear the second tunnel, there's a corner after the large hill. You'll have to start steering before you can actually see the corner, or you won't be able to get to the inside. Start braking as you're cresting the hill, too. For the last corner, keep your steering inputs minimal and use the throttle to guide your car around the bend. IB5, one lap guide run, Costa di Amalfi. We're back to the pace car lap again. This time, follow the GTR around a lap of Amalfi circuit. This track is known for its elevation changes and tight corners. Observe the pace car carefully and memorize the racing line. You'll need to carefully control your speed through the downhill portion of this track, and for the tight S's that come at the end of the lap, you'll need to use the entire width of the track to get through successfully. That was pretty close. Oh my god, I hit the cones. Are you kidding me? I was 1.5 seconds up. I didn't even know there were cones there. Move! You're so slow! I hate the pace cars so much. It's so slow through this downhill section. And then it brakes like way too early there. There we go. Took a couple tries, but we got there. IB6, Cone Slalom 1. Using the straight at Fuji Speedway, we've arranged some cones to create a slalom course. Weave your way through the cones and get to the finish line as soon as possible. Touch a cone and you're disqualified. As your car gains speed, it'll become more and more difficult to control. Get off the throttle as you pass one cone, then on it as you approach another. Developing a good rhythm is key here. Your test car is equipped with ASM. Active Stability Management, turned on. This system uses the brakes to stabilize the car's balance. It'll compensate for slight under and oversteer, keeping your car's chassis composed through most of the run. Let's go. You'll perform the same slalom as the previous test, however, this time ASM will be switched off. Your test vehicle is the BMW Z4. Once you start gaining speed, the car will have a tendency to spin, so you need to be very steady with your driving inputs here, and it's imperative that you do use the throttle abruptly in mid-turn. Keep an eye on the speedometer and figure out the optimal speed to get through the slalom successfully, and note how different the car reacts when ASM switched off as to when it was turned on. Let's go. IB8, City Street Challenge 1. Now we'll use the street course in New York to gauge your ability on taking city turns. Unlike corners on a racetrack, you'll get onto curbing for an instant through these 90-degree corners, so make sure your entry speed is optimal. Determining the exact braking point is vital in controlling the speed of the car, so concentrate on when and how hard to apply the brakes. In the middle section of the track, there's a place where a narrow pass leads onto a large, wide road. Make sure you use all of the track here to find the most effective line possible. The last part of the track consists of a series of 90-degree corners. Don't think of these corners as separate entities, but as one long connected pass. Don't be intimidated by the barriers on the side of the road. Use as much of the track as possible to get through quickly. First try. Knock over the cones laid out in a spiral 2 and go in the other direction. I'm not going to bother reading all that text. I have a feeling I'm not going to enjoy this one. I'm just going to finish and see what my time is. Oh my goodness. Oh, this... Actually, I've got time. Got time, I can do this as long as I just don't miss any cones. Nice. That one was not too bad. Now let's see how good you are at finding the right racing line. We'll use the tight sections of the Italian street course. Right after the start, you'll come upon a section where you'll be sandwiched between walls. There are slight curves here, so tap the brakes to slow down. From there, you'll come upon a series of combined corners. Use as much of the track as possible to try and go through the track in as straight line as possible. Throttle work is key here. Don't go full throttle and off the throttle abruptly. Try to stay even throughout. Learning the corners and maintaining a good rhythm is the key to success here. IB10, One Lap Guide Run, Hong Kong. Now for the pace car to make yet another appearance. You'll follow it for a lap around Hong Kong street course. The key to this track is that the width varies greatly from one place to another. Like the street course in New York, when the width of the track changes in mid-corner, use the wider portion to the maximum. When going from narrow to wide, don't presume that the curbing is the end of the corner. Envision the line all the way to the exit, even before it comes into view. When the road goes from wide to narrow in mid-corner, get the car pointed in the proper direction while you're on the wider portion, or you'll be unable to make the full turn. Take in the beautiful lights of the city as you learn this track. Competition Dirt Racing 1. This is a test that utilizes the high-speed section of the Grand Canyon course. It'll be run simulating a real race. There are 3 successive jumps after the start. Clear these and you'll approach a left-hand corner, turn the steering slightly and get on the brakes. The rear will begin to slide out. Use the throttle and counter steer to control your drift. You'll use the momentum of this corner to slide through the following right-hander. Just don't get too far wide on the first corner's exit. You'll have a difficult time turning into the right-hander. Also, not losing control of the car through the jumps is very important. IB12, Driving on Snow 1. We'll test your car controllability on the icy roads through the successive hairpins of the ice arena. Cut through the first left-right corners in somewhat of a straight line, then you'll come upon the left-hand hairpin. Swing the car to the right before going into the corner, then swing it the other way as you go in. The momentum of the first swing will enable the car to drift cleanly through, as long as you counter steer and throttle properly. If your timing on the throttle isn't perfect, you'll get unwanted understeer. Use the same technique for the following right-hand hairpin. IB13, tackling undulating S-bends. The latter section of El Capitan is where we'll see how you fare through intense elevation changes. You'll be faced with a downhill right-hander after the start. Think of this corner as a combination of two right-handed corners. After driving onto the first curbing, go back toward the outside of the track, keeping the steering constant, then drive over the second curbing. After taking this next left-hander flat out, you'll come upon a blind right-hander. Although you can't see through the corner, you'll need to slow down the car early to be able to make the turn. The road changes a bit on the exit, so be ready for understeer. Making the proper adjustments as the road surface changes is the key to getting good results here. IB14, tackling corner sequences over undulating surfaces. We'll use El Capitan yet again. This time we'll run through a challenging hilly section. The key point here is the steep uphill climb after the tunnel. And at the top of the tunnel is the apex of a corner, so you'll need to start braking as you're still climbing and head for the curbing on the right side. After this is the downhill part. You'll lose a lot of grip, so be wary of the understeer. And the exit for the following left-hander is tight. Finding the right place to get on the throttle is important here. IB15, one lap guide run, Cita Diaria. Time for the pace car again. Follow it for a lap around the Italian street course. The entire track is very narrow, so if you don't take the perfect line, your lap times won't be impressive. Follow the pace car closely and learn the line and where to brake. There's a difficult hairpin corner here. The corner is steep with a late apex. Don't get impatient and dive in too early. Gradually getting on the inside is the way to go. First try. Let's go. IB16 Graduation Test. In order to get the International B-Class Racing License, you'll need to tackle the challenging portion of Italy's street course that you just seen. You'll be timed from the back straight to the point where you exit the hairpin. After starting on the straight at high speed, use the gate at the bottom of the hill as a breaking point. The road will flatten here. You can also use this as a guide point. After the gate, there's a right-left S-curve. Keep your speed in check here. Then you'll approach the right-hander. Stay on the outside, then go to the inside at the end of the curve. And that is the last gold for the IB licenses. So we should get our license here and 3 more cars. So that is the IB licenses done. Next time we'll be taking on the IA licenses. See you then.